Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you are all doing wonderfully well whenever and wherever you are in the world when you decide to watch this. I wanted to come on here to talk about the new moon we had yesterday in Sagittarius. Even though the new moon happened yesterday, the energy is still very much present and around us. And as we know, time isn't real. So regardless of when you decide to watch this, know that you will be tapping into this energy and activating it. So before we get into today's reading, I did want to announce that my services are going to be on promotion for the month of December 2024 and into January 2025. So if you've been contemplating working with me and looking for a sign or an opportunity, this might be it for you. So my psychic birth chart readings are going to be on special for 333 as opposed to 444. My oracle card readings are going to be on special for 111 as opposed to 222. And if you're looking for more in-depth support, you would be wanting to engage in longer journeying with me for a couple weeks. My mentorship programs are also going to be on special, and that's going to be based on if you decide to pay in full, pay partially in full, etc. But in short, if you are contemplating working with me, I recommend booking a soul-to-soul call. It is free. It's 15 minutes where you and I would connect to see where you are on your journey and how I can best assist you. I will be updating at my website hopefully sometime this week to reflect those specials, but if not, you can just send me an email at leah@iamthedragongoddess.com. And I'd be more than happy to connect with you. So for today, the theme is light, because when I think of Sagittarius, I think of those warm ambers that sustain the fire. And interestingly enough, even before or after, I actually can't remember right now. I think it was after I had the idea of exploring light with you guys for this pick a card, I ended up watching Wicked over the weekend. Hang on, I'm just going to take a sip of my tea. I ended up watching Wicked. And for me personally, I don't like musicals, so it kind of drove me nuts a little bit. But I enjoyed the parallel between the light feminine and the dark feminine throughout that movie. And Ariana Grande portrays the light feminine. But what's interesting is she portrays the disempowered light attributes of the feminine. We see her people-pleasing. We see her not standing her ground. We see her pretending to be nice and kind to everybody just to manipulate them. So this movie portrays the shadow aspects of the light feminine. And then we have the other actress who portrays the dark feminine. And this movie was really interesting in seeing the intertwining of both these energies. We see that the dark feminine is suppressed. We shy away from her. She's kind of outcasted. And it's because of her underlying power that we're able to sense in her presence. And she also happens to look different in this movie as well. And so we see these two characters parallel each other in this movie, only to break apart at the end because they can no longer stay side by side. And the portrayal of this to me, as I finished watching this, was how women need to take that journey of leaving behind the maybe toxic traits of the light feminine to dive in deep to embrace and discover the empowering traits of the dark feminine. Because at the end of this movie, we see Alphaba leave behind Glinda, and this is Alphaba really stepping into her own power and reclaiming it. And it's interesting because as she reclaims her power, we see all these other energetic distortions start to happen around her. We see her mentor call her evil, cast her out, say that she should not be trusted, that everything she says is lies, that she hurt the monkeys by giving them wings when it was the dude, the wizard, who asked her to do this all along. So we kind of see all these energetic distortions play out at the end of this movie, where we can actually kind of tie in patriarchy into this too, where patriarchy kind of distorted and used the dark feminine to fulfill its agenda. And once its agenda is fulfilled, kind of cast her out, view her as a wicked witch, and make sure people don't trust her, really outcast her and isolate her. So this movie does a good job at portraying that, even though it was a musical. And as I said, I don't really care for musicals. But I wanted today's reading to focus on the empowered traits of either the light feminine or the light in general without its distortions, because we are in Sagittarius season. Sagittarius is a fire sign. So I figured after watching this movie, given that it was the distorted attributes of the light we were witnessing, what if we brought in the empowered traits of light in today's reading? So that's going to be the theme. Obviously, as always, I leave my channel open to spirit coming through. So as much as I set this theme, spirit might want to take it in a different direction based on your specific placement. So I'm going to be picking cards from the Kuan Yin Oracle, as well as this Oracle deck. It's just called Oracle deck. And my plan for today's reading is to look at what your light has to say in terms of messages for you today. And lastly, draw a card. What is the truth of your light? Because Sagittarius is always about seeking the truth, the highest meaning. They go on a quest, they explore, they want to get to the bottom of things, and they do so through travel a lot of the time. So that's going to be today's theme, and I am going to be following Sagittarius placement. So we're going to start with Sagittarius Rising and follow all the Sagittarius placements through the astrological wheel. So hopefully you know your Sagittarius placement. If you don't, there are tools online where you can simply Google free birth chart calculator. You are going to need your birth time though in order to get an accurate birth chart, because your birth time is what determines your ascendant. So your ascendant is that placement in your first house, and you need that placement in order to map out the rest of your birth chart. So without further ado, actually, before I get into this, Jupiter is also still retrograde. So with Jupiter, who's Sagittarius's planetary ruler, being retrograde, it's an opportunity for us to turn inwards. Anytime a planet is retrograde, we think of the re's. So R-E, reanalyze, reassess, reflect. And with Jupiter being retrograde in Gemini until next February, this is an opportunity for us to reflect on how we intake information, because Gemini is an air sign and they're constantly processing, analyzing, and intaking new information. So we have Jupiter in Gemini, and that's the intake of information and how we can process it internally and expand and tap into our own abundance, optimism, luck. So those are the energies that are going to kind of be enveloping today's reading. So without further ado, let's get into it. So if you have Sagittarius in your first house, Sagittarius Rising, or this simply resonates, this is going to be your message. That's too many cards. Let's see. All right. So Sagittarius in the first house, your light is about the Yin Empress. Card 42. So already what I'm picking up from this card, with it being the Yin Empress, you're getting that double feminine energy coming through. So part of your light is to embody this divine feminine light energy. And this is regardless of gender. We both have masculine and feminine polarities within us. So for those of you that have this placement, a big part of your light is to really step in to owning the feminine energy. Divine feminine. And this means having a very opened heart center. So part of your light is to let your heart shine as well. And with the card 40, 4 in the tarot is the Emperor. So it's really interesting that we have the Empress and yet we have the 4, which represents the Emperor in the tarot. So we're having that interplay of feminine energy and masculine energy be present in this card. So even though we have the Yin Empress, we have Yin, which is feminine energy, and we have Empress, which is the feminine counterpart of the Emperor, there's still a level of energetic balance that's going to be present in your light. And if you're not feeling energetically balanced between both the feminine and the masculine, this is something your light that is found within your heart is here to help you achieve in this life. And the truth about your light, we have universe. Always be in harmony with the universe. And this is really interesting because that's definitely what I'm picking up with the Yin Empress. Because we have that interplay between the masculine and the feminine, you are meant to naturally be in a harmonious state with the universe. And whenever you're not in a harmonious state with the universe, it is a calling for you to drop back into your heart space, because you might have gotten too enveloped and stuck up in your head. So as I look at this card, this kind of makes me think of the heart, and then this makes me think of the mind that's kind of juggling a bunch of different things. And it's external too, so you could think of external energies impacting you, impacting your light. And whenever this happens, this is a call from the universe to tune inwards. Give me 1 segundo. Okay, so hopefully that didn't cut out with that phone call coming in. But as I was saying, for Sagittarius in the first house, it's very important that if you get really stuck in your head, that you make the time to come back into your heart space. Tune out all the distractions. And also paying attention to your breath is going to be very important. And when it comes to intaking information, you're going to want to dive in deep into things. And that's part of your light that wants to just go illuminate this knowledge that you might have known in past lives. So if ever you get pulled down rabbit holes looking to explore different subjects, that is your inner light illuminating you and guiding you forward. And Spirit is recommending that you follow those paths, because you are going to collect knowledge that's going to unlock different gifts and abilities for you. I'm seeing these little spheres here as lost, forgotten gifts that you are here to awaken in this lifetime. And it's going to be as you venture on your quest to gather this knowledge and information. And then it's going to be important for you to cultivate it and start to integrate it and embody it into your heart center. So let's say you explore herbalism, for example, how to heal others with plant medicine. You're going to have to integrate and embody that medicine by living it yourself. Otherwise, it's going to cause a disconnect between your mind and your heart. And I'm also picking up for my Sagittarius is that you're meant to have a more flowy lifestyle. I'm not sensing a lot of like rigidity or restrictiveness. You might even kind of not be a fan of overly tight schedules and routines. And this is your soul, your light. It needs more freedom and exploration. And as the last kind of message that wants to come in, which is really interesting, if some of you have thought about wanting to dive into the Akashic records, that is definitely an ability you can develop at some point in time. Okay, so that's all I'm picking up for Sagittarius in the first house. If that resonates or doesn't resonate, I would love to hear from you. I'm going to take a quick break because I did have a phone call come in and I do need to call that person back. So I will be right back.